IVM.
Welcome to another week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This week on Cyrus Says, Cyrus talks to restaurateurs Pankaj Shah, Abhishek Hunavar, and Sumit Gambhir of Neighborhood Hospitality. They talk about their past and they talk about their future. They talk a lot more about their future in a new show that we got launching called The Kulaba Cartel. Please make sure that you check that out as well. In a 2-episode special on the Pragati podcast, Pavin and Hamsini are joined by author and legal expert Rahul Mathan to discuss the Sri Krishna report and India's tryst with the concept of privacy. On Shunya One this week, we have Vishal Gondal from the Vishal Gondal Show. He takes us through his journey on GOQii. And just a quick shout out to all of our listeners. Along with the Kulaba Cartel, we have a whole host of other shows launching this month. So stay tuned to the IVM Podcast app and make sure that you follow all of our new shows as well. Hey, welcome to episode 65 of Shunya One. We have a great conversation coming up with Vishal Gondal. He is the founder and CEO of GOQii. Also the host of our other show, the Vishal Gondal Show. So check that out if you have not. Shiladitya, Vishal, and I talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. We get into fitness apps and what kind of ecosystem they exist in. And it's a really, really interesting conversation that I think you guys will really enjoy. In the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on Slack. We did a poll following Shreyas's episode last week, asking people what kind of information they're okay when they buy tickets to events or shows. And I think the clear answer that we're getting is that it's definitely not okay to link your Aadhaar card. That, I think, is what everybody is saying, right? In response to the poll, Deej also asked the question, does he have an option for none of the above? Unfortunately, Deej, not yet. Maybe soon, but not yet. Anyway, let's get you on to this show. It's a really, really interesting conversation with Vishal that I'm sure that you all will enjoy.
All right, welcome to Shunya One. Today we have with us Vishal Gondal. Thank you so much for being here, Vishal.
Thanks a lot for having me here. I mean, it feels like I'm being interviewed myself in the same studio when I interview others.
Exactly.
Which
is a seat reversal.
No, but that's an opportunity to give the appropriate plug, the Vishal Gondal Show on the IVM Podcast Network. Please check it out. It's awesome. We've had a great number of really cool episodes. We had an episode with Ronnie Screwvala as the first episode, which was amazing. And the episode that's coming out in the next couple of days is something that I think a lot of you are really going to be interested in. We got Mahesh Murthy on in a couple of days. So please make sure you catch that episode as well.
Yeah, Mahesh is a great friend and we're going to have a great conversation with him.
Absolutely. But today we're going to, of course, look at some of the tech stuff which you have obviously been famous for and been an entrepreneur yourself. Why don't you help us out with, the story so far and obviously where it's going to go with GOQii?
Well, the story so far is that we are having fun and more fun and more fun. And while we are having fun, we are making people more active, healthy, as well as making them donate more karma points and make the world a better place. I think the GOQii story has been quite a journey for us, because in 2013 when I started working on GOQii, everybody said I'm crazy. Making a consumer hardware in India. Yeah. Believe me, it has never been done so far. I mean, Micromax, they got these Chinese phones changing things. I think we were literally, and I think so far we are possibly the only consumer hardware company in India which is winning. We are not like number 10, we are pretty much market leaders in this space. But I think the bigger X factor which was there for GOQii was not the hardware but the services. Right. And I know at that time people didn't get it, what we were doing. People are like, what is this coach? What is this subscription model? Yeah. Again, 2013, 2014. Of course, now there are so many people who are kind of copying this and launching stuff. But we were literally, and not just in India, literally in the world, the first consumer wearable hardware which came with the coaching system.
Correct.
But the journey from 2014 till now has made our platform evolve so much. So we started, I say we started with a much more fitness bend of a service. Mm-hmm. But if you look at what we have built today, it is an entire healthcare platform. Yeah. And we call it the smart preventive healthcare platform, because we now saw that there's a huge linkage between this. It's not just about being fit. It's about having the right nutrition. It's about having the right sleep. It's about making sure you are testing your blood regularly. It's about getting the right advice and then taking it to an entirely integrated approach. Right. And finally, all this leads to benefits. So I think if you look at the theme for us in 2018, we already cracked people and coaching. We then cracked the entire medical aspects. We introduced doctors, health locker, insurance, and all of these things. Right. But this year was all about how do we reward you? Now that you have become healthier, how can we make you wealthier? So we introduced the concept of GOQii Cash. Right. It's the only currency in the world which you can earn by doing healthy activities. There is no cash. You don't have to buy anything to earn this cash. Do healthy activities, earn the cash, and then spend it back on buying healthy products and services. Right. So it's kind of this infinite loop of health that the more healthy you get, the more healthy products you buy, then you consume that and you get more healthy, and we want you to be healthy forever. Right. So that's really what we are trying to do.
Wonderful. I mean, and of course, I know you personally had, wanted to embark on this journey after obviously being a tech entrepreneur yourself for many, many years before that. Maybe, how do you feel this whole transition happened where you wanted to focus on this, like going back to your days, Disney and before? What was your experience there, and how do you use some of those tech experiences which you had there into what you started with GOQii?
For this, I have to go a little back actually during my school days. In my school days, I used to only do gaming. And the joke was I used to play games in the field, which was volleyball, and then games on my computer. And I think what happened is that I started playing too many games, both offline. When I say offline, it is on the ground and online. And I excelled at both. So in my school days, I ended up becoming a national level volleyball player. I was super athletic. In fact, I even got into a college because of the sports quota. I could never get on my college on my own. I went to Podar College in Mumbai, way better than Sydenham. But ultimately what happened is that all of this led me to create India Games, and that's a discussion in itself. But what happened is that while I was running India Games, my diet became Coke and Pepsi and pizza and vada pav and, all of these unhealthy things. And from being a volleyball player, I became a volleyball myself. I was almost 3 times this size, super unhealthy. And I started realizing again in 2010, 2011 that, hey, I need to get back in shape. And like everybody else, I tried gym, diet. I bought every version of Fitbit. Basically, you try being a geek. You say, oh, why is this app not working? And why is this device not working? You did everything. Right. And then finally what happened is that just like everybody else, 99% people, by the way, the stat is that people who download all these health apps, 99, actually probably number is more, 99% people fail.
Wow.
99%. I mean, just think about it, right? MyFitnessPal has a download of some 100, God knows, million. Yeah. Those 100 million people have not become healthier for sure. So everybody downloads these free apps, but nobody uses them. Correct. Or uses them for a day and then they're off. Correct. Same thing happens with all the hardware. There are so many people who have bought fitness bands and they don't even know where they are anymore because they stop using them. Yeah. So I met this coach in my neighborhood who was a running coach, and he said, hey, why don't you take up running? I said, listen, I'm always busy, I'm traveling. So he said, don't worry, wherever you are, just send me on WhatsApp what you are eating, and I'll tell you what exercises to do. I was like, yeah, no problem, I'll try and do that. And I kept messaging him, and he used to say, okay, today you do this, run this much, or today if you've eaten this, don't eat this, or eat that. And basically, he was remote coaching me without us even realizing we were getting remote coached. Yeah. To cut a long story short, I was able to go from being on a couch to running my first half marathon in 2011. Since then, I have run 14 or 15 half marathons. I have done 4 ultras, which is the 100 kilometers, Oxfam Trail Walker. Last year, about a few years back, I also took up trekking, went to Everest Base Camp, and I'm off sugar. Now, I don't know for how many years I've not, I don't consume any form of sugar. Yeah. And I was able to make a lifestyle change, not because of any app or any device. Mm-hmm. It is when this data and this thing was connected with a person who could advise me specific to me.
Yeah.
So that was the insight. So when I quit Disney, and the big idea for me was, what do I do next? Of course, I couldn't do gaming. I had a non-compete with Disney. Which I think was a good thing, right? Because a lot of times people want to do the same thing they have done before.
Correct.
So it is like, okay, if not gaming, I'll do slightly different and come back to gaming kind of stuff. But in my case, I was like, listen, I know gaming, and gaming is all about behavior.
Right.
It's how do you addict people to something? How do we call them, and how do we put them in loops in a game?
Yeah.
So GOQii was the same thing, that how do I use the same gamification techniques not to make you play a game, but to actually make you drink more water, make you have more green vegetables, make you walk more. So that was the challenge. So it was always gaming meets health.
Yeah.
Which is why when we launched the product, we never called our users, customers or clients. We call them players.
Oh.
So GOQii, you are a player the minute you join GOQii.
Yeah.
And you get points for everything. You get cash for everything. You are in a game of life.
Yeah.
And you have a coach.
Yeah.
And the coach is here to make you a better player. And then our social network is called Arena.
Yeah.
Because you are in the arena, and the arena is where you meet other players. So even the terminology we use is very different. For example, if I call you a patient, you already think of yourself as sick.
A victim, yes.
As sick or as something who's here for getting treated.
Correct.
If I call you a customer, the relationship is I am a customer, you are giving me a service, come here.
Yeah.
But the minute we call a coach and a player, you know that the coach is on the top and the player is on the bottom. You are here to get advice from a player, which is where a guru and a teacher also comes in, right? When you go to a teacher, you're not like, teacher, what is this? Why are you not giving me this lesson? You are respectful the minute it's a teacher.
Right.
But when you are in a restaurant, people don't show the same respect to the people who possibly do more work. So it was all about using the gamification techniques.
Wow, that's actually a very, it's a mental reorganization which you're almost doing for users of your app who are not users but who are actually players.
They are players. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I think a lot of times people miss this fact, right? Yeah. Calling your customer by a particular name defines your relationship with them.
Right.
And, that's where it all starts. So
that's interesting.
I've spent like hours and hours doing nothing but behavior. We've met every behavior expert in the world. And a lot of what you see in this is come from that research.
Wow. And initially also when you broke into the market, I recall, right? Like you said, you were a consumer hardware wearable at that. Unlike a phone which you reference, a phone is still a gadget you use, but this is something you wear. It's on you 24 hours a day. And again, there are so many questions around the hardware itself, and maybe we'll get into that in a bit. But you literally embarked on a journey of building a service, building a tech product. When I say tech, a soft app or a software platform around it, and the hardware. I mean, isn't it too many challenges at the same time which you had to sort of...
So again, right, if you think of this as different things, it is a challenge. But for us, this was part of one thing we were building, which is an ecosystem. Right. And let me give you an example, right? Think of PlayStation or Xbox. So when Microsoft is building PlayStation or Xbox, which are the most, or Nintendo, these are the most successful consumer electronics in the world. They are not building the hardware. What they are building is the amazing games.
Right.
And to play and experience these amazing games, people invest in the best consoles.
Right.
And console is not itself a business. In fact, they lose money on the hardware to make money on the content.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever thought of doing this in health. Because the problem is that there are device companies, there are doctors, there are service providers. They're all sitting in silos doing their own thing. Device is trying to sell you the device. Doctor is trying to sell you the advice. Somebody else is trying to give you something else. Somebody is selling you health food. All the various consultations may be actually conflicting.
Yeah.
Doctor will tell you have this medicine. Somebody else will say you have more protein. Yeah. Somebody else will do this without understanding that having too much protein is actually putting load on your kidney, which is what is causing your kidney problem. Yeah. And doctor is telling you to have this medicine to avoid the kidney problem. So it is all... The problem is that it's all disconnected, right? People take random advice.
Yeah.
So the first thing we did is we said all the advice should be at one place.
Right.
And be the doctor, be the health coach, be all of that, look at the advice together.
Right.
And the hardware is just a way to get you in the system.
Right.
So actually the difference between our approach and any other hardware company is that their job is over when they sell you the hardware. Now the only way they make more money is by selling you the other piece of hardware.
Right.
While
Or the charger.
Or the charger or the strap or whatever. While in our case, the only way we make money is making sure you achieve your health goal. So once you come on GOQii, we lay a big emphasis on you defining your goal. Then we connect you to our coaches and doctors, and then they advise you. And hopefully you are progressing towards the goal. And that leads you to extend your subscription on our platform, get more people on the platform, and become a promoter. So our net promoter score, just to give you a sense, is in about 70. That's the kind of NPS we operate on. Because our entire service is about people getting other people on board.
Yeah, and that's gamification in itself too,
Exactly.
right? I mean,
and my whole belief
players.
was that if we do not get that kind of a net promoter score, we are not doing the right thing.
Right.
Because if you're inherently building a product where the only way to acquire customer is to keep acquiring and paying more money and losing every customer from the bottom,
Right.
you are building a crap product.
Yeah.
And in gaming, that's the first thing you learn is retention.
Yes.
If you can't retain your gamers, you don't have a game.
Right.
And that's how we built GOQii. Our focus was not the top of the funnel. It was about how do we keep you engaged?
Right.
How do we keep you healthy? And how do we keep you in the system? So now our next goal, by the way, is how do we make you a GOQii user player for life?
Correct.
Which is why insurance is coming in. Because the minute you get with us in insurance, you are possibly going to be on our platform for life. The minute you start earning GOQii cash and start using GOQii to buy health products, that's a much more long-term.
You're more deeply involved in the entire thing.
Exactly.
Well, in fact, so this whole platform approach, right? I think when you guys started, obviously a lot of folks were, the only other players in the market were the hardware people, or were these independent apps which did consultation and, like you said, different silos. I mean, again, this could be my personal experience. I remember that there was this fundamental difference between people who wanted to get healthy and would do anything for it, like the guys who actually probably eventually becoming healthy, right? They join a class, they join a gym, they start running, and then they were just using gadgets to track that. And then there were other people who were the casual people who just bought something, didn't work, downloaded MyFitnessPal, didn't work, and gave up. And the fact that you added service and consultation, right? How did you see your initial base react to it? Did you see that there were certain kind of people who said, I don't need any advice, I know what I'm good for? And then there were other people who genuinely took up that advice and stuck around. Like, do you see?
So one thing which again we did, which was very counterintuitive, and now I think I'm happy that people are getting why we did that, is we never launched a free product.
Mm-hmm.
So our proposition was very clear that we want to go to people who want to make a change in life. Because health is something, and education, that if you don't want to learn and if you don't want to be healthy, I can have the best coaches or the best guru come and teach you, but nothing is going to happen to you. So the first step in this is I am wanting to change myself, which is you vote to say I am a inclined consumer, or I want to play, as we put it in our thing. If there is somebody who says I want to play, they are more likely to play and win versus somebody saying that why the hell I don't want to, I'm not even interested in the game.
Right.
So what happens is that a lot of times when you get users who are not interested in the game, they are not going to work.
Right.
So what we did is we made sure it's a paid model. So people who were coming in were serious. The second thing is we made sure that we were always selling subscription plans. So we never sold the hardware alone at all.
Yeah.
Even today, you only buy with the hardware. And people are asking, why does a 3-month plan? Because, so it's a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month plan. So people, the minute they know that they were opting in with a service offering.
Yeah, a mandatory service offering. Yeah.
And if you look at our communication, we over-communicate the coach and the doctor. So people knew why they are coming in. In fact, the best part is that, there are cheaper products than us in the market. Some of the Chinese are selling it.
Yeah.
People pay more for our service and come to us. So it is not like we are cheaper than anyone else.
Yeah.
So we were not even trying to compete on the product specifications.
Yeah.
We were competing on the service. And that actually comes to another very interesting point, which is my favorite point, that you cannot beat other people at their playbook. So the reason, between Flipkart and Amazon, Flipkart was always in a way trying to copy Amazon, but you can't copy Amazon and be better at what Amazon is doing.
Yeah.
But if you look at Paytm, they had their own playbook. They were doing this recharge and wallet.
Yeah.
So they were evolving into something which an Amazon or nobody else even understood ye kya ho raha hai.
Correct.
Same thing. So when Fitbit and Xiaomi and all these guys came, they were like, what is this GOQii trying to do? They never understood our playbook because we were never trying to copy their hardware or even compete on hardware. We always said, Fitbit has better hardware. If you can spend 20,000, go buy it. And by the way, you can even connect Fitbit to us.
Yeah,
So we were never trying to compete on hardware. We were saying we are here to make you healthy. Hardware is just an enabler.
Right. One piece.
You can buy a 50,000 rupee hardware or 5,000 rupee hardware. You cannot even use hardware. Use your phone for tracking.
Correct.
What is more important is you need the guidance.
Correct.
If by just buying books and pen you could be a scholar, then everybody would do that, right? I mean, books. Why do we need colleges and schools? Everybody could go home and see Wikipedia and Khan Academy and become.
People do. People do.
But most people need, as humans, we are designed to receive, or then we need a guide, a mentor. We need somebody else to push us. So that was the same insight we took here.
Agreed.
So coming back to this, right? So we made sure that we focused on our strengths, which is the services and hardware being an enabler. The steps which I count, it's the same chipset. It's not like we are using a different chip versus anybody else.
Right.
So it's pretty much the same offering from a hardware perspective.
Yeah, and long term, like you
well,
said.
Actually, you guys have one thing which I love, right? Which is the USB straight plug-in. That's something that a lot of other people didn't have.
So again,
right?
we didn't have it in our version 1 device.
1 wasn't there.
We got it in version 2 and version 3, and now we are never going to have a charger. See, I'll tell you again simple reason why we did that. Fitbit's job is to sell you more chargers.
Right.
So when a Fitbit customer used to lose a charger, they were very happy. Wow, we can make another sale to him. They were not interested in solving the problem. Right. They were looking at it as an opportunity to say, you know what, we want a customer to buy a charger for home, buy it for office, keep one in the car so that they can charge it anywhere.
Yeah.
While in our case, we were saying you use that damn thing to become healthy. Yeah. We don't want you to give another excuse. And the excuse was, I forgot my charger got lost. So we were trying to remove every barrier from you to reach your goal. Right. And the biggest complaint people had was, I forgot my charger. So we said, now there is no way you can say that I forgot my charger, for example. Again, this is because we were looking at something else as a goal. If we were also a hardware company, we would celebrate the day you lost your charger.
Right.
Correct. Wow. I mean, and that's a whole different way of thinking of this, right? I mean, you still wonder why the hardware companies do what they do, but again, that's their prerogative, right? They want you to keep investing in their ecosystem, whereas GOQii obviously wants you to invest in yourself.
And be healthy, the outcome. The outcome. We are interested in the outcome, not for you to buy more stuff.
Yes.
More hardware.
Nice. On that note, I'm going to take a quick break, come back and talk some more with Vishal about the journey ahead.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says. A show that encapsulates everything in human history, from the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's simple as A, B, oh God, what comes after that?
All right, welcome back. Vishal, of course, we were talking about a lot of things of what makes GOQii, this platform, which is not just about hardware, of course, and so many other services bundled into one. I actually, before I talk a little more about the hardware and the direction you guys are going in, one of the first questions I always had, again, I'm fairly motivated. I do wrong things and eat sugar and indulge once in a while, but I'm fairly motivated towards my health. Whereas I know for a fact that so many people, like you explained earlier, give up on their own fitness very easily. What makes your players not give up? Like, how do you guilt them into not giving up? Like, or how do you do it? Like, what is that one insight you have in terms of?
So there are three things over here. See, the first insight is very clearly, you need to know who your customers are. So we spent a lot of time speaking to our customers, researching them, and we realized that our customer is not somebody like you who's going to the gym. They're already very, very motivated. Our customer, our typical customer, is a couch potato. For them, walking 500 steps is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you look at India, with the amount of 100 million diabetic, this, that, that's where 99% of our population is on the couch.
Right.
The people who are on the gym, actually, if you look at the number of people who use gyms, it's very, very small in terms of
it is.
percentage to population. And even people who are doing, for example, we were doing the math on number of people who do runs or marathons in this country. You'll be surprised to know that the number is not more than 5 lakhs. All India who register for a race, which is either a 10K or above. It's only 5 lakh people. That same number in the US is more like 30 million, 500,000 to 30 million in the US. Okay. So the point is, you can't build a large business if you are focusing on the 1% who are already, who have taken the step and who have gone outside the couch and who are already out. Right. Our goal is to take these people to that level eventually, but our customers are in the couch. So that is very important. The second thing is, see, the gym model is inherently made on the basis of breakage.
Yes.
The concept is, I have 10 treadmills, I sold 500 memberships, I only hope 20 people turn up on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. because if more than 20 people turn up, I'm dead. I can't put 500 or whatever, if all those people turn up for the gym. So their model assumes that only 15 or 10% people use it. Our business is exactly the opposite. We are expecting 100% people to use it. In fact, even our coaches are incentivized on engagement. So the way we pay our coaches is not on the basis of how many players they have, but how much they are playing. So coaches are also making more money on more active players. So the entire system is incentivized from an engagement perspective, not on a breakage perspective. The gym will never try to call all their customers that, why are you not coming? Because they know if they do that, they are dead. So there is a conflict of interest in the business model of a gym and your health. Versus our model. So our model, the reason why people are so effective is because the entire business model, all the people in our ecosystem are paid to engage with you and make you active. That's part one. The second thing is, we are here to make you a winner. That's the other rule of a game. See, the problem is, and give you a simple example, weight loss programs. We never ever advertise GOQii as a weight loss product or a weight loss program, or never say 5 kilo loss for 5,000 rupees. A lot of apps do that because it's very easy to sign up customers saying you'll lose weight. But we know that only 1% people are successful in that. So if you're making a consumer promise and saying, I'll make you lose weight, and 99% people are going to fail, they are not going to say your app is bad. They're not going to say, I'm sorry, I am bad, or I didn't follow. They'll say this app is crap, or the diet was useless. So you are basically failing 99% people. In our case, we say every step you take is going to give you good karma. These points are donated to charity. So by the way, by walking 100 steps, you have become a Dayawan, you have supported the world, you have become a better person, and people tweet about it because everybody wants to talk about positivity. So instead of trying to make you a loser, we are trying to say every step you take makes you a winner because you are a better version of yourself. So in fact, one of the things I personally don't believe is leaderboards, and Fitbit and other people do leaderboards. Leaderboards are the worst form of encouragement in health context, because what happens invariably is there are these 3-4 people who are always on the top, and then
those guys.
Everybody else
all the people then eventually say, this is not for me only, and then they give up. This is good if you have type A personalities who are competing, who are playing Counter-Strike and playing those kind of games. But if you look at a game like Clash of Clans or what I call casual games, or Candy Crush, they never had leaderboards like this because they wanted to make sure that everybody is a winner. There are some people who may win a little more, but you are not a loser. While the name and shame is about loser. So when people come to me and say, I have this health app with a leaderboard, I'm like, thank you very much. People just slap all these things onto apps thinking it's gamification, but it is the wrong motivation from a
Yeah,
health.
no, it is. You're exactly right. I mean, like I see that on so that was one of the things on the Fitbit, and it was always the same 3 people on top, and it was like, do you guys do nothing but walk all day? And I mean, like it really felt like that, right? I mean, like they're all like every day 12 to 15,000 steps, and you're just like, that's not doable.
Exactly.
On a daily basis.
Which brings me to my other question around what, now that you're incentivizing so much on the, working and engaging with your platform, how many people what kind of systems in place do you have to make sure no one's trying to game you back?
So just to give you a best example, right? So early this year, we launched with Max Pupa an insurance product. It's called Go Active. The deal is the more active you are, you get a health score. And that score reduces your insurance premium.
Yeah.
Of course, the same problem insurance companies had that, people are going to game it.
Yeah.
People to claim all these insurance premium discounts and all that. So we created a system which has fail safe. So we exactly know that in a minute how many steps you can humanly take if you're running, if you're doing whatever based on your height, weight, etc.
Yeah.
And suddenly if we find a 110 kg guy, running in this thing with all kinds of data, we know that whole thing is coming in. So there is a fail-safe system there itself. But apart from that, since we are a human interaction system, we also have both qualitative and quantitative inputs.
Right.
For example, if we are constantly seeing that your weight is going down, but you are never talking to your coach, all your food pictures are about burgers and sodas and all of that, they are not correlating.
Right.
So we have so many more touch points with the consumer, with our players, that we are able to a very high degree of accuracy predict whether this is a fake or no, or at least have red flags over there. Nice. And the good news is we went through all these scrutinies when we worked with insurance companies, and I would say that, still if people want to fake or people want to do frauds, they can. The only flip side here was at least the person is trying to do a fraud by saying he's healthier. So let us at least, even if there is a 1% fraud, it is a person possibly deserves it. If he is going to literally every day fake so many steps and take healthy food pictures and update, how much water he's drinking. So the effort need to take to do all of this, you might as well become healthy only rather than faking all these things.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But coming to a little more of where you guys are going next, of course, right? You've built the hardware, you've revised it, you've improved it, and obviously now, like you said, in the world of hardware only, there's very little which is really different, right? And obviously the value proposition is all these other services. You've also come up with a lot of new modes in which you engage with your customers, and I know that live video is actually one of them. And that's something which has sort of recently taken off across verticals in the country because of obviously data access being democratized. How did you arrive at that, and how are you seeing that coming up?
So again, when we researched a lot, so as I said, right, we are possibly the few startups who has a dedicated insights and research team right from day zero. So one of the things is that the more we learn from the consumers, the more we figure out what to do. For example, this was a most common question asked to me in every meeting with investors and other people, that who are you competing with? Yeah. So I told my team, we need to give them this answer on who are we competing with. Yeah. What is your guess? Who are we competing with?
Wow, you're competing with
a lot of different people, right? I don't know if there's a single competitor there.
Give me 2 names at least.
I have an interesting answer. You're competing with Netflix or someone like that.
That's an interesting answer. That is you're competing for attention.
So basically what we found out with all the insights we got, that we were actually competing with what is called laziness.
Yeah.
Right.
So the reason people, when they stop, so the answer came from people who stopped using GOQii. Our question was, what are you doing now?
Right.
99% people are doing nothing. It's not like they suddenly got another device and they suddenly became very healthy and started using other app. Yeah. Same thing, people who didn't buy GOQii, what did you do? 90% did nothing, or they bought some Chinese device which they stopped using in 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
So it was not like people were like Amazon versus Flipkart, that I went and I saw this product here but I got it better here, or
Correct.
Ola versus Uber, or many categories where people are choosing between competitors. In our case, people are choosing us or doing nothing.
Right.
So when we are competing with laziness, the product you are building is very different. And that is when the videos came in. Because we realized that all the lazy people today are on Facebook, Instagram, watching videos of all kinds of people. And we said, you know what? We are going to make our coaches available on live video to you, who will show you dance exercise, yoga, gym exercise, talk about nutrition. So the insight came from, again, what are lazy people doing today?
Correct.
And how do we use that same behavior, what these people are doing, to bring them health? And that's how we launched GOQii Play, which has taken off massively. And our vision is we are going to be possibly the world's biggest live health content channel.
Wow.
We are expecting, I think soon you are going to see from 7 in the morning to 10 in the night, a show by the hour. But we are eventually expecting hundreds of shows parallelly. So what would happen is, hopefully as we build more content, that you wake up at 7 in the morning, open GOQii Play, you can have a live running session, a live yoga, a live cooking. At one time, you may have 20 live sessions going on of different things, and you can then choose in.
Amazing.
Because again, we don't want you to be lazy and say, oh, I could not eat healthy because I didn't have that recipe. And there should be somebody giving you a healthy recipe too. So I think video is going to be quite exciting for us.
And this is interestingly enough, right? I remember every time I've woken up early and switched on the TV, there's always some channel which plays early morning exercises and whatnot, right? Which I've never really paid attention to. But the fact that something is available only at a certain time, right? And it's live and there's a real human.
And you can interact with them. The beauty
Correct.
is that with these coaches, you can actually interact and ask a particular question and you will get the answer then and there itself.
That's a whole difference in behavior, which, I mean, it's also it's a behavior which you're eliciting from your players, which is totally different from just being a passive YouTube watcher, right? Again, all of the videos are on YouTube, but who has the motivation to go and sort
again,
of get
over here,
them?
you're already in a fitness app, right? So you've already got some sort of thoughts towards fitness. YouTube is a very different kind of thing. So the kind of people who are on the app itself, they're interested in this stuff.
Exactly.
Plus, the app itself knows whether or not you're moving. So
true.
it knows when you should be getting up and switching on that video.
So interestingly, the other thing we learned from our users where when we started, so the average age of a GOQii user, we are not talking to 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds. Our average age is 35. So we are getting people who are serious. And I think people only after they turn 30s, they realize that I'm no longer bulletproof. And, it's then the realization comes of health.
Correct.
So in the first part of GOQii till 2017-18, we were targeting primarily for what I call the preventers. People who wanted to prevent an illness. So that's when they enter the 30s, 40s. But now onwards, you will see a huge focus for us to go after players or users who are either having a condition like diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, or already contracted a condition. Because in India, the numbers are staggering. The minute you turn 40, 1/3, actually not even 1/3, half the people who are turning 40 already have a lifestyle disease. Hypertension, cholesterol, diabetes. I mean, this is all, India is sitting time bomb. All these things are happening. Wow. And the best part about this is largely a lot of these conditions can be managed by lifestyle change. If you are diabetic, type 2 diabetes, completely manageable, reversible. Hypertension, completely manageable. Thyroid. Yeah. So the point really is that these are the products, which is what got us to launching GOQii Vital. So already there were many devices which could do heart rate, but heart rate in itself means nothing. And, it just tells you are, currently having a high heart rate or low heart rate means nothing. But the most important element which everybody told us at least is a good indicator of health was your blood pressure. And of course, we know that it's a very cumbersome process. Even the digital blood pressures have to be put on your arm. So we worked a lot. Of course, we are not claiming the GOQii Vital to be a medical device. It is no way accurate like a medical device. And we clearly say that please talk to your doctor. But just think about it, right? In less than a minute, put your hand there. In less than a minute, it can give you your readings. Less than a minute. And again, as I said, while we are not claiming this to be a medical device, you can easily using this figure out whether you are having high BP if you see 4-5 readings which are high, and then we can connect you to a doctor. So this is a screening device is what we say.
Right.
This is not a medical device.
Right.
But again, as I said, right, the question here is that if you look at heart disease in India, step one of heart disease is hypertension. Most people don't even know their hypertension until some episode happens, and then they go and check their BP, and then they realize all this has happened.
Right.
So what we are now trying to do is build a platform which takes care of the preventers. How do you prevent? And people who already have disease, how do you manage? And by the way, just to give you a sense on how big the market for this is, in India there are 300 million people. 1/3 of our population already is between these two buckets. 300 million people.
Wow.
And imagine all these people getting sick. There is no hospital, there is no infrastructure. So next 10 to 20 years, because we have a still younger population, but as you start seeing these people becoming older,
Right.
India is going to have possibly the biggest health crisis in the world because there is no infrastructure to help them.
To accommodate all of these, yeah.
Exactly.
And
And that's where we hope India is going to leapfrog with no hospitals and no doctors, directly to digital solutions, which is what we are trying to build.
Right. And of course, now I think the latest version also lets you the rewarding aspect which you were mentioning, right? I mean, how have you seen that really being taken up
So
by
again,
folks?
the insight came from talking to our players.
Yeah.
So for example, one of the most common advice our coaches give players is to start having apple cider vinegar or to have protein bars or protein shakes. Next question was, which one do I buy? Because they go to Amazon, search protein bar, there are 50 search results. They don't know what to buy. They search for apple cider vinegar, there are 100 search results. So the problem is that traditional e-commerce are not designed for giving you specific products and specific health benefits. And the second thing is, in the name of organic and health, there is so much crap in the market. As a consumer, you are not able to choose. So the idea came from consumers saying, listen guy, GOQii, you tell me what product I should buy. I will only go and buy that.
Yeah.
That was the first insight. The second insight was, of course, people now expect good pricing. They want discounts. So what we said is, why don't we make them earn the discount? Because giving them a discount is of no value.
Yeah.
So first of all, we created this entire gamification system of GOQii Cash, where good health behavior gives you the cash.
Right.
So first of all, you have earned it, so you are more likely to use it versus just giving you a discount.
And that's a really extensive system too, right? You put together, like, there are like, you were showing me that thing, there are like 40, 50 different things that people can do on the app to earn points.
So different things. So for example, just adding how much water you drink just makes you earn 1 cash, 1 rupee. But if you add a medical record, that's a huge. Or if you get another friend onto GOQii, you earn even more. So all kinds of behaviors. In fact, we have something called GOQii Active Sunday, which is an offline event we do. If you turn up for that, one event will give you 1,000 GOQii cash, the highest, because you turning up physically for an event.
Right.
And soon imagine we are going to have partners and we'll say, go to the gym and you will earn cash. Go to a park and you will earn cash. So as we open more offline partnerships, even visiting there is going to give you rewards. And then we created a health store where we curated products. So we don't have 20 protein bars. We've only got 2 or 3, which our team has tested. We know that this can be recommended, and we would recommend you that. Similarly, it's the case with healthy food, healthy snacks. So we now have over 1,200 products already on the store, and we are hoping that the number will go to about 5,000 products. But these are all going to be products
curated,
which are curated, right from organic pulses to organic masalas to even organic grooming products. Like, why do you want to put chemicals on your face or your hair or your skin? So we've actually got natural chemical-free cosmetics, for example. Because again, people were asking us these questions. And that's how the GOQii store has come about.
Wow. So from competing with nothing to competing with almost every other startup out there.
Actually, we are not competing at all. The point is that this is for a GOQii user who comes into our system. So we are not trying outside and advertising and saying that, hey, buy this. We are saying once you come into GOQii, you have said you want to be healthy.
Correct.
We are providing you an ecosystem of products, services, all kinds of things to help you do that. That goal. So we are not going to compete, or that is not the intention.
That's a different thing altogether, right? If you want to do that, then you needed all 50 of those products. But
I had another question around the larger demographic of India, which again we talk about a lot, because what has changed again in the last couple of years is the fact that data is accessible to a lot more people, right? So apps are a lot more popular, and there's new markets within the country which have opened. How do you see this like your product going out into the rest of the
In fact,
demographic?
already 40 to 45% of our users are outside of metros.
Yeah.
We have users from Ganganagar to Andaman Nicobar Islands. The good thing about e-commerce is that every corner of this country is now accessible thanks to e-commerce.
Right.
And in fact, we are seeing that the users in smaller cities are more sticky and more active because it's not like Bombay that they are traveling 2 hours to travel and stuff like that.
Correct.
They have much more time, and their problem was they always lacked the access.
Right.
Yeah.
We have suddenly made sure that a person sitting in Jhumri Talaiya is getting coached by the best yoga instructor from South Bombay or Delhi,
Yeah.
or there is a person giving them advice. The best experts in the world are possibly giving them advice and not restricted to their small towns and cities.
Correct.
Do you have a strategy around languages around here as well? I mean,
So yeah, so as we go on to more video and we will have languages, and Hindi is already
Right.
coming in. So as we scale, of course, local languages will become bigger and bigger for us.
Amazing. I mean, yeah, that's where the opportunity does lie, of course, right? I mean, localization within the country, of course, definitely, and access to the information which they didn't have before. How do you see this different from, again, a little to set the global perspective, right? Obviously, India being India, all the problems we have and the population we have, it obviously makes sense. But how is this, again, compared to the global market? Do you see this sort of model being now reverse copied by other people out there?
So we are seeing a lot of more companies coming up in the services space. The only difference is in the US, because there is so much penetration of Apple Watch and Fitbit, hardware may not make sense to bring in because hardware already has
there.
penetration.
Right.
So there, I think it will be more services led. However, the big difference again we are seeing is that the incentive in these markets are even higher because healthcare cost is so high. Health insurance in America can make you bankrupt. That's how expensive it is. There, if you get a 10% discount, it is massive for people. So I think that especially this whole model of rewarding is going to be very huge globally. So that's our entire vision, right? So as we are rolling this out in India, we are looking to partner with insurance companies in other countries. We are looking to partner with pharma companies and introduce these products to other Western markets where the actual amount saved is in the thousands of dollars, not in the thousands of rupees. Right. So it's a game changer over there.
Yeah,
but clearly we want to make sure we get the product right in India first, and that's what we are doing. And I think from next year onwards, you'll be seeing a much more wider global rollout for us.
Nice.
That's awesome. And of course, I mean, thank you so much for telling us about the story of GOQii. And of course, we hope that everyone listening, while you may most likely be a gamer or a geek or someone who spends most of their time on a chair coding, I'm sure all of us want to be a lot more healthier than we are today. And this will help us.
Everybody listening out there, all I can tell you is that being healthy is actually very simple. It's like hacking. And, when it comes to hacking, what you need is the 5 or 10 tips, which you will not get searching on yourself on Google, but knowing from the experts. And one tip I want to give everybody right now is start having coconut oil.
Yeah.
I know you are all you're thinking, what the hell is coconut oil? This is not the one you put on your head. There is a lot of brands available of coconut oil which are extra virgin. I think if you just add 1 spoon of coconut oil, maybe just have it with warm water or anything, that is one of those healthy elixirs because it increases your good fats, and especially people with cholesterol. I mean, just about everything.
Yeah.
So have some coconut
I've started
oil.
doing fat first in the morning.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while too. A couple of months
Coffee
now.
and butter.
Yeah,
Coffee and
bulletproof.
coconut oil.
Yeah.
I do coffee with coconut oil.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much. Vishal, obviously, everyone at IBM obviously knows where to find you. But for our show listeners, where do people reach out to you? Maybe on Twitter?
Yeah, the best way is Twitter. The fastest response is on Twitter. The slowest response is if you call me or email me. I don't think so. People understand this in today's generation.
Correct.
That email and calling is and WhatsApping is the...
Are you also a coach on GOQii?
I'm not a coach on GOQii, but I certainly am available for coaching people for all other things. So, and I do this whole show, which is also helping and coaching people with the journeys of other smart people. So I am what I call the coaches of the coach.
Nice. So obviously you're at Vishal Gondal on Twitter. And of course...
everybody please sign up for the Slack channel. It's on ivmpodcast.com/Shunya One. There's a button over there that says join Slack. click that button, send us your email, and we'll add you to the channel. Also, please make sure that you give us a review somewhere or drop a comment. I mean, you can do that on iTunes, you can do that on CastBox, you can do that on YouTube. There are all these different places where you can do that. But do definitely reach out to us and
Yup, and listen to the Vishal Gondal show as well. Coming this week should be a lot of fun, and of course all the other episodes.
Yeah, there are a lot of good episodes in there. Check out the archives for sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot again. Great fun having you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
Did I just catch you on your way to work? Or did you end up pulling an all-nighter? Let me guess. You have a packed schedule for the day, the week, and probably the month and the year. That's a lot for your mind to handle, don't you think? This buzzing chaos also brings tons of negative thoughts. Am I right? Try spinning that bottle in a positive direction with me, Chetna, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, every Monday on IBM Podcasts. It's time to change your life one alphabet at a time.